talking for a while about how I wanted to do this episode. It's going to be, bear with me, it's going to be a little haphazard, a little bit out there, but I've been wanting to look through this because this was the first and ever anime that I've seen that made me go, wow, I'm going to look into it a lot more, like outside of Gurren, whereas like it's something that had a manga, Gurren did not. They had one written afterwards. I don't even know if it finished, but or it was like, wow, I want to look it up. I want to look at the Reddit and stuff like that. And every day they sat on a mountaintop and screamed, the anime shit! Like, okay, why? And they're like, everything from the manga's better. What's it better? They go into great detail. I'm like, about what? I don't want to say, because if you look into it, there's a lot of things that are inappropriate. I'm adding subtext that no one else wants to say because I'm going to be the honest one. Yeah, so I've read it. There's all of it sitting there. I've got the prequel there and the sequel. I still got to read it, but give or take, they haven't released the last part of the sequel exploration on there. But yeah, the good chunk of the first of it, nothing changes. Like 1 through 4, there's minor changes. There's like fourth wall breaks. And then like basically up through book 8, not much changes. Book 8 and 9, there's not a lot of changes. But then book 10 on, they go to different continents, borderlining and version of changes, but the events outside of some changes happen the same. They're just details are drastically different. So it's very hard to explain to like, is it a totally different ending? No, but yes. So we'll get there. So I'm going to let you guys know. Trigger warning. Insane trigger warning. There's going to be some shit that I describe that happens in this book, these books, that are harsh. They are bad, and I'm just going to make the giant fucking statement. Did you know the capital's evil?
Nani?
It's really, really bad.
What?
I don't know if you noticed, but Akame and her team kill some bad people. And they didn't think we knew that, and they wanted to make sure we knew that. Okay, let's have some fun. So, this is volume 5. Akame got killed, and I have here, you got a cute little Korome on the cover
Hi,
here.
volume 5.
Hi. Who is described by Akame in the manga as the cutest thing possible, and there's no way anyone who liked her could resist her. Because we'll get into a spoiler of something that's different. Korome gets into be a relationship.
What?
But all right, so this right here, this is a page from the manga. You see this? This is Lord Shitbag, his son, and those are the danger beasts that get unleashed from Stylish's little jail. You guys remember them, the humanoid-looking ones?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, or
Released
the BDS
after
on people.
Stylish is killed. Yes. And then here is a concept sketch of Chelsea. If you are a decent human being, this book ends there. You will see there's a chunk that is still there. It is never referenced in another book of this entire series, and it's literally there to show you that the Empire are a bunch of scumbags. Now, I asked you guys, and Masao brought up before I could even ask it, in the very last episode, there's a random group of 3 incredibly well-animated and detailed young girls
Yeah.
right there. So,
The pink one's like mine.
yes, their names are Luna in the blue there. If I get this right, Luna, hold on, Luna in the blue, Air in the pink, and then Fall in the yellow hair. So,
They're cute.
there's an entire probably 20 to 30 pages here. That is an extra arc that just involves them. So, they live in a village where the village is so heavily taxed by the capital that they are literally living in utter, total, incomplete disparity. And to try and settle their debts, they're selling off their children to the capital. So they are in rags and they're in a carriage as this starts out. They get sold to this guy named, I believe his name is Dutch. I could be completely wrong. Bach, sorry. And so they get sold to this guy, and immediately, I want to believe it's the girl in the yellow hair says, I'm not too sure about this. I don't trust this guy. It's whatever. And the rest of them are a little less hesitant. And they meet him right away, and the dude is the definition of the nicest guy on the planet. Smiling, doing all this stuff. They don't have these clothes they're wearing on. He takes them on a shopping trip. He gets some nice food, lets them see the entire city. And he's like, see, not everybody from the capital is terrible. I can be a nice owner. It's this, that, and the other thing.
I
That
know
is
where
two
this is going.
This is 2 pages long. And then magically it cuts to what I can describe as the casting couch with him and 5 incredibly fucking shady looking dudes standing behind him, who he refers to as enthusiasts.
Okay.
So
he
then tells the girls that these guys are who they have just been sold to by him. And they specialize in breaking specifically young girls' spirits after they see the smile on their face that knows that they have attained absolute happiness.
I'm already getting queasy just imagining this.
So, Air, beyond her, I should say, against her will, is violated by one of the pet dogs that is owned by the group. She then, after a while, just gives in and fakes that she has fallen for all this crap after a week of being nothing but a puppet and a plaything to that dog and the men that are there. Gets privileges because she's the only one that survives of the 3 after a week. And then gets outside and she somehow gets a hold of Leone. I don't exactly remember. But on handed knee, barely able to even breathe, begs her to kill everyone there. And they do. And after they are killed, you see her on a street corner dead because she poisoned herself. Yeah. So that's Air. Luna has her eyes cut out, and after not wanting to deal with it, jumps out of a building and kills herself. Then we get Fall. Fall, who is the one that did not trust these people in the first place, immediately tried to get away from them and actually put up a decent fight. Then is instructed by the guy who sold them to break her legs so she can't get away. She is then tortured throughout the entire week, loses most of her fingers and her teeth before she succumbs to her mortal wounds and dies. Aren't you guys glad that that didn't make it into the anime? That is tacked on at the end of this book and never referenced again as an extra chapter.
Yeah, we did not need that in the slightest.
No. And I watched myself, but like, no. Those are
children. I think they're like 9 years old. And there are people that will on subreddits, on everything, go, everything that's in that should have been in the anime, and they are pansies for not including it. I'm like, y'all need psychiatric help. Serious psychiatric help.
Remember how before I described what you described from the manga as reverse filler?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is why I'm glad that the anime is the anime.
Yeah, and can you already start to see that people are literally upset that the anime ends happier? There are random characters that get shots at the end of here that don't make it through the anime just to be like, hey, remember that stupid, gruesome stuff that happened to them in the anime? They're happy here. Please be happy, because we're going to be those people that we're going to adapt that. And there's another couple in here that something happens to that have nothing happen to them in the anime that I preferred it. But anyway, so we are going to go to the group of dickbags that I don't like that borderline ruin the entire show or that entire arc that are involved in it. That is the Wild Hunt.
Oh, it's excuse me, this guy.
Yes, that is the Wild Hunt. So I'm going to go through some of the Wild Hunt members here, as long as I can get the right one here. So, Izuyu, this guy is a master swordsman. You're starting to see where this is going. Another guy, real good, the head fighter of the team. That's fine. Get this guy, Ishin, who is a contortionist, body freak, likes messing with stuff. I don't think I need to describe a whole lot more.
Nope.
Outside of him
That's
past his face there.
tongue.
Yeah. So
That's all you gotta
cool
say.
there. We have Dorothea here. Dorothea here.
Oh, she's cute.
Yeah, she's an alchemist who does a lot of weird stuff.
Oh God, what you said, alchemist. Oh dear God. Oh no.
Yeah. So
I know FMA. No, nope.
Yeah, and we're doing all right here. We haven't gotten to the guy that made me go, "Wow, am I glad Wild Hunt isn't in there?" Yeah, she actually does. She is a giant player. She is in almost every other chapter after she's introduced. She's a giant part of it, and she's just not there. Then we get the Kazuma, random bunny girl, who is another member of the Wild Hunt, and she gets turned into a giant freakazoid danger beast later because she gets killed, but we'll get into that. And then the piece de resistance of why I don't like the Wild Hunt. We get Champ, the pedophile killer clown.
He's not a pog champ.
He needs to go away.
The pedophile killer clown of the group. Who I'm going to give you a quote here. Why he does what he does to young children is that I want to make sure those young, cute angels die at a good young age so they don't have a chance to turn into dirty adults. Hey guys, did you know the Empire's evil?
No, why don't you bludgeon us on the head a few more times?
I think the Empire's evil. And then you have their leader, Sayura, who is the honest son. So, yeah, that is what we were going to get into with that. And we're just going to keep up them here because, man, the next great chunk of what I'm going to talk about all involves them. But we'll get to it. So, one thing that changes in Book 8 is, do you remember the fourth Rakshasa demon, Suzuka, the one the building falls on?
Oh, yeah.
Remember, I believe it was Masao was like, it would be really lame if she died like that. She doesn't in the manga. She, in fact, gets up and said she likes to feel pain or that she gets up and that she is basically a masochist. She loves to feel pain. And that when she was crushed under the building, that she... Oh, actually, this is before that. I apologize. When Esdeath and them get to the capital or the religion town of the Good Faith religion, she speaks about how she would very much want to be hurt by Esdeath. So it's just out of nowhere. She just describes how she wants to be
stepped on and how as a MILF.
Yes, exactly.
Fair at the time. Fair.
Yeah, I'll bring those back up when we start talking more about the that. And then another thing that is not in there, which I was going to say there's a big difference about that guy who tells Mine and Tatsumi about their relationship, and that he's described in the book as being able to have visions and to heal people's grievous wounds. He's the only person in all of Akame that has this, and it's not in the anime. He is the union, or I should say the love child of a human and a danger beast. So he has weird powers, but he looks completely like a human. So, and then like the whole thing goes through, he has the same talk and all that. The only thing that really changes in that book is in the fight between wow, no, I can't think of her name, Suryu and Mine, is that she puts earplugs in to block out Koro's scream so it doesn't affect her, saying she learned from the last fight. Not a lot of big changes there. So in book 9, and I will say one thing that is greatly expanded upon in the manga is Mine and Tatsumi's relationship. There's a lot of random scenes, stuff like that. They sit next to each other a lot and things of that manner.
Are they more explicitly a couple in the manga?
Oh, absolutely. Like after they like, we'll go into it later, but there is a point where Mine just basically goes, "He is mine now." Yeah. But they talk a little bit more about it, and it starts showing in every single shot that they sit by each other now whenever they meet anywhere. Like Mine goes out of her way to sit next to him. Tatsumi's totally oblivious, even though they had the talk about the guy about the red string of fate. So you find out how Boss got injured also is one thing that they show. So we have Boss. She declares help of the Revolutionary Army, but she doesn't stay at the base for fear of cramping it. So they head out, and they're on their way to a HQ when they run into Esdeath, And she took out her eye with an ice spike and then froze her arm solid and then kicked it clean off.
Damn.
That is how she dies. So, and we also find out, I don't remember exactly who the character is, but from who it looks like in the manga, when they show the flashback, it looks like the minister's son tried to woo Najinda. There's somebody that tries hitting on her in the scene that happens right before she leaves.
Fucking
And
lame.
it looks like it's him, but I'm not exactly sure. So, one thing that has drastically changed also is the attack when they're trying to get the head of the religion that's corrupt, or like the guy who's in there that's corrupt that they're trying to seed out so that that revolution happens more peacefully. They split into 2 teams instead of like them sneaking in and getting into them, and then boss just comes in there and goes, ha ha ha, you fell for my trap. They actually have a big giant fight sequence that happens when it goes there. Leone, Sue, Tatsumi, and Boss attack the courtyard to draw Esdeath out away from Balak, the guy who they're trying to get. And then Mine, Love, and Akame take that air raid manta thing. They fly that into there to drive off to like kind of like surprise and go in. So, but before they get into there, it is knocked out of the sky by Wave, and then he puts up a great fight where he actually kicks the living crap out of most of them. Wave gets a lot of love in the anime, is shown as an absolute badass. And we'll get to it. Wave is the only person in the entire anime in the show lore period that ever equips 2 Imperial arms at the same time. Yeah. And we'll get to later how that happens because
dual blade.
Yes. So so while they're attacking on the inside with the main team, she doesn't come out. They have this big fight out there, and they get in. Tatsumi sneaks in invisibly while everyone else is dealing with Esdeath. They're waiting for an opening to where he can kill Balak because they got people surrounding him. They just want to kill Balak and leave, so they're having him wait for an opening. And then I can't remember the exact thing, but Esdeath finds out. I wish I would have wrote down the body parts. Esdeath finds out that Leone's healing factor is a thing. Oh, I bet I took a picture of it. Hold on. She finds out that Leone has a healing factor, and Esdeath being a torture junkie that she is, wanted to test that. So I did. I found it. This is her waiting to chop down Akame. Okay, so I'm going to tear off your fingernails, open an air hole in your cheek, cut off your right breast, chop off your arm, and stab your tail. And then she does all of that. So there's that. And then, all because she wanted to test it out. And then, oh God. So anyway, one thing that happens while they're doing all this is that they were frozen with the Mahabdama thing that she creates. And it's revealed in the manga that people aren't supposed to be able to make their own trump cards for their Imperial arms. That's not a thing they should be able to do, but Estes just does it because she's a badass. And then before they leave at some point, he picks up Leone after everything gets done, and Leone goes, hey, can you pick up the rest of my bits there? I'd like to keep those. And then they do the thing later with Love where she just gets all of her shit sewn right back onto her. She literally gets operationed back together. And so anyway, while they're on the outside, Horimaka is who I think the guy's name is a Scythe Taigu user, fights with Akame. And she literally just nicks him with the sword and then walks off. He lasts like 2 seconds. That's it. Guy gets no screen time whatsoever. So then you get everyone inside, and it is Sue fighting Esdeath, and he uses his trump card. And they thought that she killed Sue for a second, but then she uses the rest of her 3 trump cards at one time. And in the manga's logic, because she used them all in quick succession, Sue got brought back to life, but it didn't cost her life force.
Her lifespan.
Because she cheated it, I guess. And then Sue is still killed by his death. So, yeah. And then Lub is hurt in the fight with Wave. and all that. And like I said, that one spy that I thought never returned after he saved her in the city, comes back again and helps him here and then walks off. So all of this is happening after the fight that Mine and Suryu had where Tatsumi toppled that girl into the building. This is like a day to 2 days later to have this fight. Suzuka, that person that got buried, gets out. She's alive, perfectly fine. And she says she loved the pain of being buried alive because it opened her eyes to a new form of foreplay.
Okay.
Also, newsflash, the Empire and its cronies are horny. Very, very horny.
Horny and evil.
Yes. So, and then like normal, like in the show, Mine goes, hey, if we make it through this thing, I have something to tell you later on. And she just goes, why can't you tell me now? Because I don't want to right now. That's pretty much how that goes. But then they go on a hunting trip to get food, and she's almost injured, and Mine confesses her love to him and kisses him. So it's kind of the same way that it happens at the end of the whole General Budo fight, and then they are a thing now. So then the Wild Hunt is a thing. So we'll bring my least favorite douchebags back up on screen. And they are operating in the capital as the capital's, what I want to say, impromptu like punishment police. And they conduct inspections on capital as a capital secret police and do things like that. Cut back to the hideout for a second with everybody. And Leone tries to seduce Tatsumi. And then to return the favor for protecting her after she was cut up. So that. And then Mine walks in as there's happening, even though he's pushing her off ferociously, bitches him out that he doesn't know how to fight for himself, even though he has a woman. And they're still fine, but it's Mine being Mine. So it is what it is. So there is a research thing that is going on in the city where there's actually some stuff that is being done by S-Death that actually supports her former teammate. Like, she sends out resources and stuff that she had done, and she actually has it help pay for Bowles' family to, like, make sure that they're good. So she actually takes care of Bowles' family. Shows that she actually gives a shit about them. So, anyway, that is the lead up to a scene where, are you ready, kids? The Empire's evil. At Bowles' grave, his family is sitting there visiting him, mourning their dear departed husband and father. Were they approached by Douchebags Anonymous here? Do I need to remind you that Champ is a douchebag, child-killing molester?
I don't like where this is going.
Oh, no.
Yep, they don't show you in great detail, but they use and abuse and kill Bowles' family and then dump him on Bowles' grave. And then Champ says, point blank, hey, I should bring you guys back for our honeymoon next year.
But the manga's better, guys.
It's better. God, aren't you just great that you have all this, child molestation? It's awesome. All the stuff that no one brings up when they shout about how great and superior the manga is and how the Wild Hunt arc is the best thing they never included.
Oh.
It's dumb. You remember at the end of the show when they show a very great glamour shot of Bowles' family helping at like a soup raffle and supporting the hurt bystanders of the city?
That was nice.
That was cute. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's another one where they went, no, we're not fucking doing that. Oh. Anyway, so while Wave and Korome are talking about, and then Wave finds this horse shit, finds the bodies. Wave's the one that discovered all this. Wave is made to be 1,000% the Tatsumi that is on that side. He's just done with everything. And consistently he's like, why the hell is this okay? One thing that I am legitimately mad about is Wave gets a ton of love in the manga, and he doesn't get a lot of screen time there. But
yeah,
it's very much would have became a Wave-centric thing if they would have shown this. But yeah, Wave is great. So anyway, Wave and Korome are talking about finding Bull's family, and the minister's son comes up to them while they're talking. And this is the first time the minister's son, Suryu, finally lays eyes on Korome and knows who she is. He then says that he claims her as his next toy since he's never done it with a junkie yet, so that should be fun.
Okay.
Really don't like this guy. Anyway, so then Wave Galactica phantoms him across the hallway.
Thank you.
Just gone.
Wave. Thank
yes.
you.
So
Thank you.
then him and Wave are fighting, and Budo steps into it and goes, "You guys are not fighting on this temple in the city grounds. We're not doing this. If you are going to fight, we are going to have a sanctioned fight, and I will oversee it." They go and have a sanctioned fight, and Wave fucking wipes the floor with him.
Good.
Kicks his ass from pillar to post. And he just can't deal with it. And it is what it is. And hold on. Hold on. We'll get here. So anyway, now we're going to get into some things where I tell you how they mention some arcs in the show, but never fully get into them. And I'm going to see if you guys can start connecting dots before I get to them. So we're in the meeting room after all this has gone down. And Ron is talking to Wave and Korome about how he used to be a teacher. He mentions that to Leone in the show.
Yeah.
So all of his kids were killed, and the government cleaned it up because they didn't want the great pristine image of the town that he lived in that I don't remember exactly. And then that caused him to want to change the capital from the inside by healing it or destroying it from the outside with the rebel army. He chose the former. He joined the Jaegers. So Ron sneaks off to go and find the Wild Hunt's lodge. And Korome runs after him, knowing full well someone from the Wild Hunt killed his students. They leave Wave behind to keep the scene more quiet. So, after receiving multiple contracts as well, the Wild Hunt is also being pursued by Night Raid. And then they meet up and they have interactions on the same night. So, Run lies to Champ, telling him that he has a house full of little kids and that if he wants to claim the prize, that Champ should follow him and alone. And they have no reason to suspect them because they're working for the Empire for the Jaegers, so they shouldn't think there's that big of a problem. So they get through and they get him to where he is, and then he vehemently complains that there's no little children around and starts to get very upset. And then Run mutilates him, and harshly, at that point, they thought kills him because it is revealed that Champ is the one that did everything to his students in the town that they used to live in, that he was a teacher at. So, as they're going on with this, other people from the Wild Hunt find out about it, and then they run after him. And Korome takes on the singer that I mentioned earlier, up there, and then Ishin, the weird body freak, and is fighting them both at the same time. So, after taking care of all that, Run tries to rescue Korome when she's overwhelmed, but Champ did not die and knocks them out of the air when he was trying to fly away with her. Run then kills Champ finally, and Kazuma is about to attack again, but Mine blows a hole clean through the middle of her chest. And then Tatsumi and Akame kill the body freak with a sword cut. Run flies Korome away as the fight between the teams starts going. Run is very, very injured by Champ when he is going back. Now, this is where a giant deviation happens. Run dies from his wounds. Or you think he dies from his wounds. As he's about to die, Korome jabs a sword into him, killing him and making him into a doll. Wave is very, very, very not okay with that. Because Korome is sick of losing friends. Are you starting to see where the entire Wild Hunt has some good stuff in it, but because of the extra shit, it doesn't get included?
Yeah, I'm kind of sad that they didn't have them.
Yeah.
Even if they kind of censored a bit of champ or
Yeah.
twerk him, tweak him a little bit.
Yeah, it's some things, but anyway, we cut to now book 11. That was book 8 through 10. Book 11, there's only 15 books, so we're cooking along here actually pretty quick. Suzuka, that last Rakshasa demon, is given to Sayura's team, and he berates her and tells her how bad of a job she did. So in her exact words is that he's already verbally abusing her so that he feels that he will make a great superior officer. And she is the one that lets out that Tatsumi is a part of Night Raid. That's how everyone finds out about it, not through the whatever. So anyway, Love and Tatsumi get trapped by Suryu using a portal to bring them into the courtyard where they fight in the show. They don't have the whole faking them out with the dead people that they were trying to meet with. They're literally just walking down the road, and because they know who they are, he opens a portal underneath them and they get sucked into the capital courtyard. And then both Tatsumi are captured instead of Love dying. And while they are captured, the alchemist, I can't remember her name, Dorothea, and Suzuka walk into Tatsumi's cell after he got the shit beat out of him, and he's basically paralyzed and can't move, and attempt to sexually abuse him. Literal seconds later, who walks in after him? S-Death.
Oh boy.
Very not okay with that situation. Beans both of them clean into the wall, and you thought both of them were dead from how hard the impact was. So, anyway, S-Death says forget about everything that has happened and they can start over, and tries to seduce him, and him finally getting some of his will back, pushes her off and denies her, and then he asks why he denies her, and he reveals that him and mine are a thing, which is not how it happened, obviously, with everything else going on, because, Anyway, so we start to get to some of the parts where I said Love got it a lot worse in the manga than he did in the anime. So Suryu has Love to himself in a cell and tortures him. And the main thing that he doesn't get that people were upset with, he gets a gigantic metal clamp that they usually use for dipping stuff into something after it has been melted in a kiln, and crushes one of his testicles.
Ooh. Yikes.
That's before they even ask him any questions. That was just the starter to let him know they meant business. And then they are lying to him, talking about how Tatsumi is being showered with love by S-Death, and that's why he's getting tortured, because someone is getting the good treatment, someone has to get the bad, and he's lying about all this to try to get Love to admit stuff about Night Raid. So, after finding out about some of the bullshit that Sayura has been doing, there is a meeting with the minister. The minister orders that the Wild Hunt is disbanded because proof found about Sayura releasing all of the humanoid danger beasts onto the capital. So for that act of basic terrorism, he keeps it under wraps but disbands the Wild Hunt because, family things. Anyway, they get back to the torturing, and Lubbock tells Sayura about Incursio's invisibility powers that they already knew about, and they ask about the Akame's sword secret, why it works the way it does. They say it has one, but it doesn't. He says he's never seen her use it, and they untie him at this point. He is untied, saying he will point out Night Raid's location on a map. He unveils that he has a string in his mouth from Crosstail and strangles Sayura, saying he would never rat out his team and he was faking being scared. He steals Shambhala and uses the portal to escape into the courtyard, and Lubbock is cut in half by a sword user, Hippolyta, I don't remember exactly how his name, when he tried to put Hippolyta up as a guard, thinking he wouldn't cut the Imperial arms in half. So that's how Lubbock dies in the actual show, in the anime.
Damn.
Cut back to S-Death, who tries to steal him from Mine, reveals Love is dead, so he can't be a part of a deal for her anymore. He can't use her as leverage or whatever. And she tells him not to think of it joining the capital, but becoming her property, pretty much. And she says if she can't have him, no one will. And during his execution, he is going to kill her herself. Cut back to where the show gets a little bit more back in line. And then Mine left a note that she is leaving Night Raid, done with the team, that she was going to go rescue Tatsumi, and the team stops her, says they're going away. All that and that. So Tatsumi calls out Budo for how he is doing things, and Budo brings up that his family has protected the Empire for generations. After the rebels are dealt with, he will deal with Honest for bringing them up in the first place. So Budo, actually pretty honest guy, that after the rebellion's done with, he's going to deal with Honest. Now he's been running things himself. Plans on dealing with them and trying to fix things. Budo's actually a pretty great guy. And Esdeath thinks to herself that she looks forward to fighting him because in order to fix the capital, he's going to have to go through her. And so we get down, all the spectator, and then they have things happen most the same way. Mine stops the execution, blows a very strong attack away from Budo. Then from Esdeath, without Pumpkin overheating for the most powerful attack she has ever delivered. All the spectators are ordered to leave so that Mine can fire all she wants. Tatsumi is cut free and then goes to grab Incurcio, but the handle he sees is covered in razor-like little wires. He asks Death what it is, and she says that she will tell him what it is if Tatsumi gives her everything that he has. It's basically the handle of Incurcio is behind where he's held, and there's a bunch of razor wire that he has no idea what it is, and he has to grab it full force with bare skin in order to use Incurcio. So Tatsu calls out Incurcio and tells it he doesn't care how much he suffers, crank up its power to its full potential. And then, like at the end of the show, where the armor evolves, it does that at this point. So Tatsumi and Mine power attack Esdeath. She freezes her time, and then she goes to kill Mine. But Tatsumi, because of his armor, and his armor being a danger beast that was attuned to the cold, is actually able to move during the time freeze, and they save her. Akame and Leone jump in, and they stop her from getting Mine. We're done. We're on to book 12. Cooking right along here. So everyone fights with Tatsumi's new power. He's keeping up with Esdeath, lands a huge blow on her. Boss comes in riding a dragon danger beast this time.
Nice.
They snuck in regularly. They didn't have the air manta. And with, sorry, where was I going? And they all escape on it after Tatsumi lays out Budo. It is revealed that the barbs on the handle were laced with an extremely strong poison that was capable of taking down even the most high-level danger beasts that any of them have ever captured in the world that they live in Akame. So, Budo shoots down the danger beast after being found flying in the air, borderline T-posing. And then Mine blows him away with Pumpkin, like in the show, and Pumpkin also shatters, like in the show. Mine does not die, but she slips into a coma because all of her mental energy went into Pumpkin's final blast. You're starting to see where some people are very happy with things happening different ways.
Mm-hmm.
What they do. Mine is then sent away till all the battles are done, and Tatsumi kneels down to her and says that once this is all done, will you please marry me? I love you.
Aw.
She is then put into a carriage and is shipped off for the entirety of the rest of the manga. So Tatsumi is looked at by doctors, and they say that he is being actively consumed by the dragon Incurcio from the armor. That he is becoming Incurcio in the body of the dragon. He is losing his humanity in a fusion that saved him from the poison. The doctor said if he would have waited 10 years, this could have been avoided. Says that he either fully become the dragon or die because his body will not be able to handle the change. And you can see the glint in Tatsumi's eye, which I mentioned in the show they do, is that is the dragon's eye whenever he changes, and says he has 3 or 4 more uses max before he fully becomes the Incurcio dragon and loses all of his humanity. So, this is the most I've talked in a long time. You're going to have to give me a hot minute.
No, you're good. I don't know why. That kind of sounds cool. I'm kind of...
I got some pictures of it, too. We'll get it up there. It was really hard finding exact manga panels, and I tried taking pictures with my phone, and it didn't look great. Anyway, so...
Like, it worked, like, not having it in the anime. It's just...
It does. And, like, if they would have had another season, I feel they could have edited around Champ, because honestly, if you get rid of him, the rest of that group's pretty okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, even if, like, they twerked him a little bit, or, like, had it censored him, like, it would have been fine.
Because it's like, the rest of the group is fine. It's just that he gets the most runtime, because the Wild Hunt is basically there to make a monster, to have the Alchemist there, and the other 2 die, have one sword fight with Akame, but 90% of it is Run trying to kill a child rapist. So it's like, Yeah. But anyway, so Boss mourns Lubbock death because she knew that he had feelings for him this time around. When they were talking in the show, Lubbock had a meeting with Mine and Tatsumi, asking that once this is all over, if those two could help him finally confess his feelings to Boss. And Boss is outside the door when all this is happening. And you see her basically curled in a shower crying because she misses Lubbock and she's holding his headband. And I will keep in mind with you people that I will mention something later, but something also happened with Mine in the interim of all this that you'll find out in a detail later. Anyway, so the minister and the alchemist are talking about this big thing that they have planned and that they're working on. And they're building an insect monster that is made from the singer Kazuma. Dorothy and Ieyasu take out danger beasts, and they're take out danger beasts and revolutionary army people, and they are feeding it to this thing. And this is what the danger beast is.
Good lord.
Big insectozoid. And that is the biggest picture I could find. Anytime I tried increasing the size of it, it just looked like ass.
You messed that up.
Yeah, of course. But here, I did have this. This is a picture of one of the transformations of Tatsumi's armor.
That looks cool.
Yeah.
No, a little bit more boned out.
Yeah, exactly. And it gets to be a lot more like there's a straight up like this. Like there's a transformation before this. Like both of you watched Digimon, right?
Some of it at least.
Yeah,
like you know the second season where it was the new batch of kids.
Oh, yep.
There's a Digimon that Vmon turns into called Magnamon. He literally just looks like Magnamon, but like with human skin. It's real close. But yeah, anyway, so they're doing that. And then Tatsumi, Leone, and Akame are going to do some stuff, and they attack. They're in the middle of it. They attack the big danger beast, Ieyasu and Dorothea, while they are grabbing stuff to feed to the danger beast to bigger up and make her a lot bigger. So Akame cuts the danger beast through, and they thought they killed it, but this, I believe it was an Imperial arm, I could be wrong, is in the middle of the beast's chest, and it's the Philosopher's Stone. It absorbs the curse in a one-shot help revival thing and crushes itself, and then the beast comes back to life. So then I and I guess this exact same thing in a note I have here that it was also used to make Akame's sword. Akame's sword gets a lot more stuff about it in the anime. Lore, yeah. So that sword user, Izu, I'm not exactly sure how they pronounce it, is killed by Akame. He offers her his sword, saying he would feed it more blood. Oh yeah, that's one thing. His sword has a thing where it needs to be fed blood, kind of thing, like thirst for it, as its little like quirk.
Okay.
Champ had these balls that he threw around because he was kind of like a baseball person, a clown. Dorothea has some weird stuff, and then like Kazuma had a microphone that shot like vocal waves at people. Anyway. And he says to her, "You don't appreciate the spirit of a fellow swordsman if you don't take the blade." And then Akame says, "I'm not a swordsman," and then walks away from him. So, new soldiers coated in a weird goop attack Akame, and she goes to kill one, but the sword gets stuck to it, and it forces her to do hand-to-hand combat and stealing weapons with a bunch of random stuff. Their grand plan being, she can't kill anyone if she loses Murasame. Yeah, Murasame. And then she kills them all, and Leone comments that Akame focuses on vital points. She doesn't need a sword to hit someone's vital points. She just helps when she does. So, as Leone is about to kill the alchemist, she summons a giant, multi-eyed freak beast of a danger beast. And that is my exact note, yes. And it attacks Leone, and it basically like tries to like suck her in and like digest it like a Sarlacc pit kind of looking thing. And then before it can, Leone snaps the alchemist's neck, thinking she killed her, and like it stops it, and that stops her whole thing because she was like summoning the thing up, and it stops it. Anyway, Tatsumi cuts Kazuma, the big danger beast, in half, and that kills her for sure. And then we cut to the very end. The alchemist is playing dead, barely alive, because she had drank some of Leone's blood, giving her part of her regenerative powers to live, and she was going to lay low and play dead and wait for them to leave. But Leone wasn't going to walk away and assume that she was dead. She picks up a giant boulder and is ready to crush her with it to make sure. The alchemist then stops faking and begs her not to. Said she will join the team and share her secrets of how she loved so long for stealing, why she lived so long because she stole the energy of others. Leone says no and then just crushes her.
Good job.
Good job. On to book 13. Oh my gosh, I've been talking for 45 minutes. Anyway, so,
this is the longest he's been talking ever.
Ever. Man, I normally get some breaks. Okay, yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
I'm on book 13 here. What are your basis thoughts here? So I could take a small break. What are you guys' basic thoughts on some of the things that have changed that you're irritated with, not changing, or you're happy that didn't change? Because I need to.
So of the things that I'm irritated got changed, really the only one I have is I wish Wave got a little bit more development.
Yeah, same. I agree with that. I'm kind of
other than that, it's like I kind of said this before already. The manga is like the differences between the manga and the anime. It's almost like reverse filler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I are both of you. I would assume both of you are unhappy that mine dies in the anime versus not in the manga.
Oh, very.
Okay.
Yeah, like.
Go ahead.
But like, she's in a in the manga, she's in a coma.
Yeah, she just used all of her because Pumpkin's shots are used from emotional energy from her. She states that in the anime too. And she basically went mind blank because she used all of her power in one shot to kill Budo, like she does in the anime.
Does she come out of the coma, or is she just forever in the coma?
We'll get there.
Oh boy.
Then I will say if I hate it or not.
All right, got it. So yeah, the one thing that will clear the air here for why I'm okay with a lot of basically almost everyone dying in the manga or in the anime, I got the feel that this is wartime. People are gonna die, and they still won. And the title of the freaking show was Akame got killed.
so people had to die.
Yeah, and it's like the fact that Akame is like the only one left at Night Raid outside of Boss that makes it in the end, and she's the last person you see. I was like, it gives the illusion that plot armor doesn't exist, and not a lot of shows have that.
Yeah, that's why, like I said, when Tamaki died, I was like, yo, I like this.
Exactly. All right. Whew. We're getting there. All right, so Tatsumi starts having dragon mutations, and he's just like sitting in a tent, and they kind of subside. And then they bring him back in, and they kind of look after him. They talk him down and all that. And then Akame is sent into town by Boss to sneak in and kill, like basically a list of high-ranking officers that she was given to by Boss, and is stopped by Wave on her way out into a forest after she's done with everything. Akame, after a standstill fight, again, Wave comes to a standstill fight with her because he's wearing Grand Chariot. She can't cut him. And she almost does at some points, but Wave actually, like, again, does pretty good. And after a standstill fight, she tells Wave to have Korome meet her outside of the capital so they can fight alone. And then that goes through that. She doesn't want to do it. And it basically comes, I'm not telling Korome to come after you. I'm not sending her to her death already. There's a lot of hints of like, they don't outrightly say it, but Wave is always concerned for Korome. And Wave talks with S-Death, said he wants to get stronger and said he needs more training. So he suggests possibly trying to wield 2 Taigus because he doesn't think that in the short amount of time they have in the war that she would be able to do that much with him. So now we start talking about Korome and how her drugs are slightly different than what she had. Those candies were drugs, but for in a different way. Mm-hmm. So when they were raised, she was on a steady supply of drugs and candies that she ate that were laced. It makes her stronger, but it has shortened her lifespan and taken a giant strain on her brain. Said after her doubts, she wanted to cut Korome off from her drugs. This is Akame talking
Oh.
with Wave and some other people. Akame is bringing this stuff up. And she said that she's wanted to take Korome, cut her off the drugs completely, and take her to this healing spring, this mythical place, this hot spring where she can get detoxed. And they talk about how Korome thinks her missions to the Empire are her reason for living, even though while the drugs are slowly killing her, Akame, as her big sister, wants to end her pain. Like, Korome is in an endless cycle of wanting to repay the capital for helping her. And then that was basically like flashbacks type of info-ish things. It was like people's perspectives. It wasn't like a scene type of thing. So it's kind of weird how to write how it in. But anyway, so the old assassination unit that Korome used to be a part of is sent out to go attack a rebel base, and they split into two groups. One going to the east and the other going to the west. And the group without Korome, of course, runs into Akame.
Course.
And then she easily slaughters every single one of them and then goes to where Korome's group is. Korome uses her weapon to summon up puppets that let her group retreat while they take all the brunt. The Run's puppet picks her up to fly away, and Akame jumps after her and whispers in her ear so that only she could hear it to tell her to meet up at the place where she knows where, and Korome accepts. So that's a different way about how they kind of get to their fight. Then they get to a scene where a boss reveals that Akame gave her one condition for joining the Revolutionary Army, and that she was given free reign in all matters involving her sister. As part of that, if Akame somehow rescues her, the Revolutionary Army will not prosecute her if Akame takes care of her as her one sole job. And this is the time when she's talking with this, bringing it up. Tatsumi tells her ahead of time this time that he is going with her so that they can have their fight alone in case someone interrupts her. He doesn't show up afterwards.
Yeah.
Akame says to use her trump card, she must renounce her humanity. She brings up her trump card very early. And she thinks this means that if she kills enough people, her heart will start to become that of a demon's, then she will be able to use it, meaning her trump card. If she kills enough people, she'll actually feel in tune with the sword. Akame says if this happens, and she does, her lifelong dream would be to be killed by a night raid member, and Tatsumi asks her to do this, makes a promise that if it happens, he would kill her. Tatsumi then says, I'm making you promise the exact same thing. If I get turned into a dragon fully, my dream is to be killed by a teammate. So they basically both promise if they reach their bad ends that the other needs to kill the other.
Yeah, okay.
So Korome's old unit comes back and is ridiculed for failing. The old man in charge asks S-Death. The old man in charge asks S-Death to punish them. S-Death kills the old man, then takes control of the group. It's the old man that sent the group out. So then Wave puts Korome to bed and tries to tell her to get off the drugs and stop fighting. She says she was invited to go fight Akame and that he can't stop her. Wave says he will tell S-Death. Korome then bashes Wave up against the door, kisses him, and then sucker punches him to the floor, saying, "You're a friend. If you're a real friend of mine, you'll let me do this." Tatsumi and Leone accompany Akame to watch her fight and make sure no one interferes. Akame and Korome try to talk stuff out for a good little bit in the church, kind of like they do, except they're actually sitting like on rubble of an old building. And then when, it doesn't happen, Akame kills all of Korome's remaining puppets. Then Wave shows up and Tatsumi stops him. They have a fight. And then Wave grabs, after Run is killed, Wave actually picks up Run's Taigu and activates it, and they keep fighting. Because, he had wings. Now they both have wings. They're even more similar because, they had to have it. Mm-hmm. Akame and Korome stand off. Akame tells her in her current state the fight is decided and Korome can't win because her drugs have worn off that she took before. Korome says to take more, and Korome goes to take more, and Akame yells at her. Korome says it's all she knows, and she's about to take another wave, and Wave rips all the drugs away from her. Tatsumi says to back off and let them fight, and Wave says he's leaving with Korome. Wave says he's no longer stopping her as a teammate. He says he loves her, and he says the kiss that she gave him woke something up inside of him. Says he will take her to the hot springs Akame mentioned. So what happened about changing the empire from the inside? He said that is what he believed, but he says Korome is now more important.
What? No, I'm fucking mad. That was not in the anime. I am so mad.
Korame
Because it
said-
was like read between the
ahead.
lines. It was there, the anime.
Oh, absolutely,
Mhm.
100%. You guys mentioned it. Absolutely. Korame says he should have discussed him doing this first because she is happy. He wants to be with her, but he can't abandon the empire. Akame says to them to join them. He says he can't kill the people he says taught him, and Korame will desert and fight for no one. Wave asks Akame to trust caring for Korame to him, and Akame says Korame is cuter than anyone or anything, so it was only natural for him to fall in love with her. But it is up to Korame to accept. Korame says she won't leave. She has worked so hard for the Empire and has lost so many friends. She draws her sword. Wave transforms into Grand Chariot and then snaps her sword in half.
Fucking Wave.
Did it not like kill her?
No, it won't. Like, she uses it to control puppets. She's fine. There's nothing ties the sword with her life force. The only thing that's weird about the swords is that Morisame for Akame could like change her if she uses it enough. There was nothing like with that. But
No, I thought it was like if you break someone's imperial arms, they die.
no, there was nothing.
Okay.
It's not that. Like, some users have life force tied to it, but it's not like you're dead, you're done type of thing. No. Some of them
Okay.
have weird traits that go with others.
Okay.
But anyway, says the story okay, so anyway, they said they're going to make up a story, say that she stole him away by force and that she rejected him and stole him away by force, so she can finally not think about them and he will help her forget about all of the people that she's killed and that she'll just think about Wave. He kisses her, picking her up, and says to her head is splitting just thinking about it, tells him to take her away where she doesn't have to think about anything but Wave anymore. Akame then says they will make it look like Tatsumi killed them and fake their deaths so that they will be truly free and they only have to care about themselves. Those two are about to leave, and Korame says when she is off the drugs and she is reborn, she hopes she gets to be Akame's little sister again, and Akame says she can't wait to be her big sister again.
Aw.
Why was it not?
This is why the anime
Angie.
maybe should have been 26 episodes.
It should have been like 36, just a little bit different.
I'm very ingy.
I will tell you, I still do like the anime, but I will say that there is some things that I wish would have been kept in.
Yeah.
This is
Now-
definitely one of them.
Yes.
We're on to book 14. 2 more to go. Wave and Korame stay at a random cabin in the woods on the way to where they're going to this hell spring. So, in the meantime, fucking damn it, as Death has been making ice soldiers. You
Okay.
thought that she was OP before. She's making living, operating, full brain functioned human being ice soldiers.
Okay.
Suzuka
Anime got
asks-
anime.
Sure.
Yes, and she is sitting on a throne while these things are being made, and Suzuka just walks up to her and asks S Death point blank if she can lick S Death's boot. Have you figured out that Suzuka is a bit of a masochist yet?
I
Just
know.
a- just a
I
little
mean,
bit.
I know as it is a milk, but like you gotta chill.
Just a touch. Anyway, so she is denied and is happy that S Death denied her happiness. The final battle plan, Akame and Leone, that they're talking in the like Capitol build at the base here. Final battle plan, Akame and Leone storm the castle, and Boss with Tatsumi go after everyone else with a giant army of the Revolutionary Army and all Taigu users. So there is honest, all the research that they have in there, a Kyuki military officer who sells munitions to the minister, Sayuka, an assistant to the minister, and Yukin is a random suck up to the minister who guesses. I forgot about this. Yukin, who is a random suck up to the minister who likes to guess the sex of a baby before slicing open a pregnant woman's body.
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah. Anyway, the researcher who I mentioned in here is also the guy who developed the drugs and the stuff for the assassination unit. But yeah, there's that. And then Dawson, who is a person who liked to make people suffer through extorting money. So, he's probably the best out of all of them. Because I repeat, guessing game, slicing open women to guess the sex of the baby. So, someone in the rebel army has a Taigu that controls danger beasts and plans to use it to knock the wall down so that it can get into the into the capital. It is revealed that Honest has been slowly poisoned, and that the last, the Emperor's family, you know how they made it is so bad that unfortunate accident took your parents away from us. It is revealed that Honest slowly poisoned the food of the minister's parents, or the minister's dad, killing him slowly. The child emperor believed his mom killed herself over the grief, but Honest just poisoned her and made it look like that. So, the first to get killed is Yukin, the suck-up mother killer. The Emperor is hesitant to use the Mech Taigu, doesn't like it, whatever, but he still does. And then it is brought up that the Ice Army, as soon as it dies, can rebuild itself just out of ice fragments. Did I mention that Esdeath is OP? So, Leone and them, they pursue more targets. Kauki and Dowson, they fight using like traps in the courtyard. She kills him quickly. Before the fight, it revealed that the guy released poisonous gas into the courtyard, but he was so bad at fighting that he was killed too fast before the actual poison could affect Leone. Leone leaves. Meanwhile, Tatsumi and Akame are fighting on the battlefield. The fight ends with when a retreat is signaled for. Boss asks if he feels okay with having Incursio on. By the way, during these fights, he's using Incursio like 2 or 3 more times, so it's become very obvious that he's on the border. And he says he actually feels better with it on. And Boss thinks it's a sign of how much he has fused with the dragon inside. He says as long as they win and the Age of Peace has been found and he can protect mine, he doesn't care what else happens to him. So, Boss then knows they've won and knows that Esdeath has to be aware of it. So this is why she's wondering why she retreated. And then there's this the giant Taigu appears. The big mech Taigu appears and it blows away an entire chunk of the rebels. Their next target, Sayuzuku. Sorry, this thing is bad with autocorrect. Research meant Esdeath, and Sayuku is the guy who came up with the assassination unit. Sorry, I'm dealing with bad notes with autocorrect on Google here. Anyway, so he's the guy who came up with the assassination units. The girls split up to find their last 2 targets, which are Honest, who Leone goes after. Well, that's the one who she finds. And then Akame goes after the guy who's the head of the assassination units. The Emperor is being very careful to not hit anyone. The Emperor is actually like incredibly worried about using this because he doesn't want to hurt anyone. He's being actually not as careless as he was in the anime. Yeah, so they're doing all that. And then Tatsumi interrupts him by punching him in the head and he knocks it back. Honest watches on, is upset, and he figures at the rate that the Emperor is fighting, he will surrender before he can even fire the damn mech again. And they suggest using the Supreme Taigu's secret power when Leone throws a dead guard at his feet and then throws a spear at him, but he then snaps it in half and eats it.
What?
Nani?
Mike, the Honest is basically revealed to be Kingpin. Big guy. He can fight really well, but just happens to be incredibly obese. Anyway, so he uses the Taigu, which is, you remember in the show how he had that crown that had the weird like diamonds and he wore it on his head? That is the Taigu that kills off other Taigus. And it is even more OP because it's revealed that it has to wait for, I think, I'll find out later, that it has like a day recharge. And it just, Anyway, so, and they do that. Leone and Honest have a fight. He reveals that he has fight training from the Imperial Fist Temple and keeps his body fit despite how much he eats. He uses his Taiga to destroy Leone's and then shoots her in the stomach once. This time the Taiga was his crown and it wasn't a one-time use. It just, about a week for the broken crystal that kills other Taigus to regenerate itself. She gets back up and that's when he unloads the rest of the rounds into her. He picks her up on his shoulder and says, "This is a palace and the poor like you should die in the gutter." He throws her over the balcony he is on and she lands hard on the ground and a splat of blood on the floor and a bloody mess and she dies.
Oh, that's more
Cut to Akame targeting Saikyu. He reveals his Taigu is an encyclopedia of the world that knows all of its territories, regional products, geology, and even has predictions of massive natural disasters. If the capital loses, he will use this book to hide in the shadows and start again somewhere else. Akame then finds him and tells him to go on and says something to say, go on, say something that'll save your life. And right as he's about to speak, he kills her and then takes his Taigu. Suzuka then runs into her and activates a random mechanism that makes all the tunnels in the underground part of the castle that they were in collapse. Feeling she knows no way she could beat Akame, she will just crush both of them. And she says she learned this technique from Tatsumi, but she's not worried because she won't die. And she is instantly crushed after she says that statement. So anyway, then we're going on here. Cut back to Tatsumi and the big Taigu. Honest then orders the use of the Taigu's secret weapon, which is something the Alchemist has been working on in the background. I didn't mention it because there's like 16 different scenes where they mentioned, oh, the new thing's developing. And then the Alchemist tampered with the Taigu upon activation of this secret weapon. It took control of the Emperor, consuming him in this ball chamber. He had this like weird goo stuff enters in that has like eyeballs and random other stuff and controls it from the inside, also changing the form of the Taigu itself, calling itself Purge Mode. It now basically looks like a Resident Evil villain. But that like a Resident Evil villain goo monster took over it and it's got like a giant parasite like freaking sandworm mouth thing on it. And the Emperor is no longer in control, is no longer holding back, starts firing on random citizens with no mercy. So kind of like a really bad version of what was going on in the show. Honest reveals that either his command or his death would have activated Purge Mode. Now the machine will not stop until all of the rebels are dead. Wave and Korome watch the sky and see a giant power beam the Taigu shot, wondering if the weapon they're using that big or something would be approaching something. They're watching this, and then the last shot of book 14 is these random blank things approaching from the forest, going towards the backside of Wave and Korome. So, we're on the last book. Book 15. During the fight with the Supreme Taigu, Tatsumi has pierced through the chest and punched it to the ground with a specialized attack. He sees mine in his head before his mind wakes up. He's being like kind of zapped out and going in and out because he's using so much power and the dragon is getting closer and closer. As he's being attacked again, Wave comes in and delivers basically a grand chariot fire kick and knocks the Supreme Taigu on its ass again and then joins the fight. Cut back to a little bit earlier of Korome telling Wave to head to the capital because she knows he is worried. Wave says if he leaves, he will blow their cover and faking their deaths. Korome says she fell in love with him because of his compassion for others, and she will not rob that trait from him by having him stay back just because of her. Just makes him promise to return to her. Wave killed all the random monsters that were approaching the cabin before this conversation happened, and the capital that they think fled the capital in fear of becoming test subjects because that's what they did with a lot of Danger Beasts. When the Supreme Taigu scans Wave and Tatsumi, it reveals that only one of them is human. And, of course, that being Wave. Wave uses both him and Run's Taigus, and Tatsumi calls upon even more power from Incursio, transforming the armor again. This gives the Supreme Taigu a double huge kick, and they knock it back. Wave is about to leave to help and protect and evacuate citizens, and then Tatsumi goes, hey, quick before you leave, it just needs to be clear that mine's the better girlfriend. And then Wave goes, it's not even close. Korome is much better. And he goes away, and he goes and starts evacuating citizens. And then Tatsumi trash talks the Emperor about Tatsumi trash talks him about not entering the Emperor and says, look what you've done. The Emperor says after all he's done, these cowardly people run away from him and betray him. The Emperor's soldiers are fleeing the city while the giant Taigu fires upon them. Boss notices and figures the fight is over. Their morale's at zero. Tatsumi made the capital. She's saying that Tatsumi basically made the capital destroy themselves when he attacked everyone because they thought they couldn't take out Tatsumi. That's why the big mech is out there. He basically thought Tatsumi ended all of it and did that. They mobilize all their Taigu users onto the capital to take out Esdeath and the giant Taigu. The Emperor calls for Esdeath to join him. She jumps in, going for Tatsumi, as Akame jumps in and cuts her off, and Tatsumi says, leave the giant Taigu to him and deal with Esdeath. Tatsumi is feeling the armor fully take him over, And then this is when he has remember in the show, right before he hits him the hardest, he has the whole Bulat flashback where he's like, now say it with all the fire in your soul. And he sets up the Curcio. And then, shit you not, basically Giga drill breaks clean through the middle of the giant Taigu and it falls down dead. Pierces a hole clean through its stomach. It was awesome. The Emperor panics that the Taigu is down and falling over, looks to the Minister Honest and asks him what to do, and he sees that the Minister has left to fend for himself. Tatsumi falls to the ground and now starts to fully become a dragon, which I do have a small... Nope, sorry. Where is it? Nope. There it is. Oh, I don't have that up yet. Oh, I saved it. You guys didn't see that because I don't have it up yet, thankfully. Hold on here. Give me a hot minute. I believe I have a picture of it. There is a spoiler image that I didn't want you to see. Oh, gosh, dang it. I'm pretty much going to have to show that. But anyway.
I demand spoilers.
This is going to be kind of hard to see. But Tatsumi has fully become the dragon. And I didn't have a better picture because trying to save it, the formats weren't working great. But Tatsumi is a giant dragon. He's huge. He's big.
I mean, I'm kind of mad this was not in the anime.
But yeah,
honestly.
And that is just a start. That is just a start. Like I said, this is the parts where I'm agreeing with people. My main gripe with everyone, like I said, plot armor not being a thing, maybe like the anime, and I'm fine with how it ended. I will not say that everything it include isn't bad. It's just there's a lot of dumb shit involved in it. But so he falls to the ground and fully becomes a dragon. Flashback to Akame with Boss and this research doctor from the rebel army looking at them and talking with Akame, possibly using a second Taigu to try and fight S-Death. For anyone watching this that's confused, in the manga, they call them Taigus. I do not know why they call them Imperial Arms, because I guess the Empire made them, but they just didn't use the word Taigu. It is what I assume it's pronounced Taigu. It's Teigu.
That's probably right.
Yeah. But they're looking at her possibly having a second Imperial arm for using that because she saw that Wave was able to do it. So she figured she could give it a shot. And then she thinks that she's not compatible with them and she's only compatible with Murasame. So they offer her with drug with a one-time enhancement drug for one-time use to boost her senses. The person administering it, giving her this bottle type thing, fears though that with this enhancement it will kill off her already natural heightened senses she's gained over the years from living and killing in the wild. And Akame says she doesn't care because it's her last battle. If she needs to kill S-Death, even if it's a 1% increase, I will do it. Boss is against it, but says that it is the last battle. If Akame says she wants to do it, she will let her. She told her to take, and then she takes it right before the last fight. So, S-Death and Akame keep fighting. S-Death is shocked at the boost that Akame has while the rebels are trying to figure out how to help Tatsumi. Tatsumi's tied down with ropes and stuff. Wave returns to Korome and they head off to their final destination. So they're out of here. Akame looks winded and S-Death says she's going to finish her off. And then it is mentioned in the anime that the entirety of the roughly 1 million Revolutionary Army troops surround Akame and S-Death. And all the Taigu users are seen surrounding her along with Boss. S-Death asks if Boss is going to use the super secret Taigu against her that she has been hearing as a lie that Boss has been spreading around the capital to try and stall for time to make them kind of scared that something might happen if they try and get too fancy with attacking the Revolutionary Army. The plan was to have Akame wait in the surrounding with all the people to wait for an opening and then get in and land a cut on S-Death. And Boss is incredibly worried because she does not see that Leone is currently present. Boss commands them to attack her in waves. S-Death uses her final trump card. After gathering back and reforming all of her ice armies or people back into herself, she creates a giant ice storm and instantly covers the entire country they are located on in ice and creates a giant snowstorm that almost flash freezes the entire castle, dropping the temperature to almost absolute freezing.
OP bit much.
And they begin to, and all right, so now cut back to Tatsumi, who is getting tied down with ropes as they can examine him. And then he breaks free and flies off after that ice storm hits. And they see that he is fusing on the inside, like that the dragon itself and Tatsumi are like getting together and fusing. And they start to think that the dragon is using Tatsumi to reincarnate itself, like to break free of the weapon that it was made into. And then they're both inside fighting for control. Then they start to think to themselves, I wonder if other Taigus that were made with danger beasts will start to do this. And then they show a picture of Leone. They're like, it's examples because she had a tiger spirit in her that literally made her have animal parts. Tatsumi lands next to Akame and Esdeath, even more crazy for his new form, because she does not stop being horny, says that she wants to be the one to kill him because she's impressed with his new immense power. Akame is sad at what has become of him. She tells him to step back and that he has done enough. He has fought hard enough. And Tatsumi says barely gets out. They have to stop the storm. Mine is freezing somewhere. We need to stop this. Akame says there has to be something else that you have. He says he is something else to be thinking about mine at a time like this. Tatsumi says if he is going to disappear, he wants to make a difference first. The Taigu users start to use their Taigus on Esdeath. After she kills a few of them, Esdeath raises her arm straight up in the air, and Akame jumps at the opportunity and makes the cut. Esdeath then notices the curse because she cuts her arm off like in the anime, uses the curse and freezes her arm off and then cuts it in time to stop, uses time stop, and then it's over. She like time stops it, notices it, watches the curse slowly go down, and then cuts it off using time stop. Akame goes back to check on Tatsumi. He lashes at her and begs her to kill him, screaming that to stop his mind from slipping away, saying she promised that he would kill her. And she says, I promise. She says that she will keep her promise. And she stabs Tatsumi and walks away as the curse spreads throughout him. She said she killed so many, but this time she had to kill a friend. The last time she did that was when she first got Murasame. She said she was willing to kill her little sister if needed. This convinced the Blade that it was her one true owner. She then uses her trump card, the release of, oh boy, am I not going to pronounce this right, Ennoozzuno, Izuno, Esnunzio. And Esdeath figures out it was never a secret Taigu, that it was Akame that was the countermeasure for Esdeath. The one and only who could wound her. They keep fighting, and Akame chops off some of Esdeath's fingers, and she creates new ones out of ice, freezing them off to stop the curse. Esdeath wants no one to interrupt them, so she makes a giant ice wall to separate them. The fight gets more intense. Akame feels she needs to end her with her next strike. Esdeath then makes herself... She makes herself a giant set of ice mech armor, pretty much.
Most OP character?
Yeah. Akame then goes in for the final strike to cut the ice, but Esdeath catches Murasame in her hands like this and snaps Murasame in half. And sends the blade flying. Top of the blade goes up. Handle comes flying more out towards the front of her. Keep it this time that Esdeath's saber was knocked away from her and she was fighting with ice blades and other things and then ice mech armor. Anyway, so sending the blade off flying. Akame jumps away quickly and grabs Esdeath's sword. And Esdeath is distracted watching Murasame go. The blade slowly turns until the handle is facing away and the broke off chunk of the blade is facing towards Esdeath. Akame at lightning speed turns around with Esdeath's own sword driving the blade of that sword into the handle of hers, and then driving the rest straight through the middle of the chest of S-Death, landing the killing shot on S-Death. And S-Death falls to the ground. S-Death looks up, seeing that Tatsumi is alive, coming in over the ice wall, or that the dragon's alive, coming in over the ice wall. And Akame says he has someone waiting for him at home. And S-Death says she lived her whole life getting everything that she wanted, but she never truly got his attention, and that is her one biggest regret. She then freezes herself and shatters into pieces. Tatsumi is now shown to be the one completely in control and still as a dragon. Akame says when she touched Tatsumi, she knew that she knew because of his flesh of his dragon, that she could feel that there was two life sources inside of there. One was incredibly strong, and the other was on the verge of disappearing, so that when she struck the beast, she killed the stronger of the two, and she killed the spirit of the dragon inside, so now only Tatsumi is left. And Tatsumi is now, and severed the life force of the stronger willing force, yeah. Anyway, so the army person that Kame has been talking to says he will support him with any Taigu in any way that he can, even in that form, so that he can have a decent life. Tatsumi says he is glad to be alive, and he thanks her and says that he is going to be going home. A flashback plays of Tatsumi saying he promised her that he would live through all of this, and Akame says she was just making sure that he keeps his promise, and he says, oh, so that was the promise you said you were keeping. So, cut to Honest running away in the tunnels, and you see him here and a pair of white wicked eyes in the back end of the tunnel that say, the wickedness which heaven cannot punish will be settled in shadow, as a figure appears, and it is Leone, who is fused with her beast form, now looking like a freaking Thundercats character. So Leone did not die. Cut to Boss being very happy despite the circumstances that Tatsumi and Akame are alive. And then it cuts back to Honest running again until he is kicked hard in the back and turns over to find Leone standing above her, her body clad in fur and lion ears. He asks how she is alive. She said she never would have guessed it, but she fused with the danger beast from her armor. She says thanks to it, bought her some more time. He tells her to go to hell and unloads his weapon in her again, but this time with cat-like speed and reflexes, catches every single bullet in her hand out of midair and then drops them to the floor. And he asks what she is, and she says, I guess I'm the representation of all the people you exploited. He says she says that he is the last bit of sludge that needs to be cleaned from the drain, and she punches a hole through 75% of his chest in one shot. She then says, you trained your belly to give you a long life, and you trained your belly to give you a long life, right? And then he grabs her by the hair and starts pulling him out of these tunnels, and then drags him to a balcony similar to the one that he threw her off of. And he says, it can't end here. I have so much to live for. She says, then enjoy the rest of your life then, and throws him off the balcony, and he hits the floor in a splat, and the rebel army surrounds him, yelling, kill him. And then someone yells, wait. He has a giant bounty on his head, and there's plenty of people that want to cash in on it. Cut to him laying on a table where all of his limbs have been cut off at the knee and elbows, and he is strapped to basically a medieval torture table where there is a line stretching out to the entrance of the Capitol where people were taking turns mutilating him. His special training made him last long enough to where almost every rebel and normal citizen in the Capitol got a chance at him.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Yes. Leone walks out of the castle and runs into Akame. Tells her that they both met their 1 kill quota. Akame says she is hurt and she's going to call a doctor. And Leone says, don't bother. Old habits die hard. And that she still has the giant mass of bullet wounds from earlier, and says that she just has a little bit left. Akame says Tatsumi is alive and is undergoing treatment. And Leone hugs her, and Akame can feel that she is ice cold like a corpse. Leone says she is shocked she was able to move for as long as it is, and she says it's thanks to the fusing. Akame says Tatsumi managed to pull through, but Leone cuts her off and says she is happy Tatsumi made it. She reveals She is in bad shape and shows the wound. I got ahead of myself a little bit. Says old habits die hard. She tells Akame to let her die doing what she loves. And she calls her her best bud and walks off. And Akame says, see ya. Leone goes out and goes to the pub and has 2 or 3 pints with her friends, with the people that she see. And as and then she walks away and she walks past the exact door where Tatsumi got kicked out by the Imperial recruiting officer, where she first saw him for the first time.
Oh, wow.
And then she goes into a back alley and then falls to the floor and dies next to a lit street lamp. It then cuts to when we get back to all doing this, it cuts to the Emperor and he's still beheaded. I can't freaking believe this is in the manga. And I will... God. All right, so then cuts to the forest where Suzuka is shown to survive yet again. Walking in the forest saying she can't believe that she has to run away and that defeat was really rough. She says, but in all the commotion, she was able to snag the ultimate severance package. And pulls out S-Death's hand from her satchel, saying, a masochist like me and a sadist like you are meant for each other. Now we'll be together forever. And the captions say, both her and the hand vanished. There is no way to bring back S-Death to life, but because of her using alchemy, the hand will never rot, and Suzuka was satisfied with that.
Okay. Okay.
So, this beautiful image that you're showing me, I have to say it's a JoJo reference.
I was gonna say this is the most JoJo thing in the whole show.
It's legit a JoJo.
If you would not have said it, I would have said it myself because it's so bad. I was like, this is so out of left field.
No. I part 4 reference. That's all I gotta say. You haven't seen part 4, so I'm not going to spoil it. But legit.
Isn't it also in like Steel Ball Run? Aren't they looking for pieces of Jesus's body?
I haven't read the manga for Steel Ball Run.
We'll tangent on that later. But there is a part in the Steel Ball Run manga where, you know how when a baby kicks, it's got the imprint of like a foot.
Yeah.
They're looking for the pieces of Jesus's body, and the piece manifests itself in a pure woman who becomes pregnant with its head. And the chest and the belly of this woman, instead of like seeing a foot, you see an imprint of Jesus's head with the crown of thorns on the side of her stomach.
Good Lord.
But yeah, the villain in part 4, he kills people and cuts off the woman's hands and pretty much dies like that.
All right.
That's like I was fucking like, oh.
Yeah. Anyway, so now I have to cut this off. We cut back to Tatsumi, and that needs to be over here. We cut back to Tatsumi, who lands next to a field where Mine is in a wheelchair and someone is creached her out into the field. And Tatsumi says, I'm back, Mine, and from now on, I'll be with you. And Tatsumi and Mine looks at him and says, Tatsumi, with a question mark. And she stands up. Akame mentions that during their little time together. So remember when I said some other things happen during the thing? Tatsumi and Mine had sex when he was still human. Okay. And that Tatsumi, and they say that Akame mentions during their little time together that Mine had gotten pregnant and is carrying his child. Mine yells at him for pushing himself so hard, but smiles and hugs him. Both Mine and Tatsumi retreat to a remote region due to physical and psychological damage where they sustained during the war, and they had a child and lived happily ever after.
Why was it not in the anime?
Aren't they just the cutest? Look at them.
Aw. They're adorable.
That is the one where I was like, y'all had them get pregnant and have a kid together. I was like, you could have at least had those two make it. But
you know, he
This
might
is why
not
we
have needed to
discover,
be,
huh?
he might not have needed to be like the dragon monster, but they could have still had a happy ending.
Yeah, I agree with it there. And anyway, so remember the really sad part in the manga, in the anime, where they cut back to Tatsumi's village and now they're being handsomely paid.
Oh my god, I didn't know that they were fucking dead.
What was that?
Like, they didn't know that like all three of them were fucking dead.
Well, yeah,
I
they
was
didn't
like,
know they
yo,
were
that's
dead.
fucked
Yeah,
up.
yep, yeah. And the village of Tatsumi's whole thing plays out the same. They talk about Sayu and Ieyasu and all them. And they said that hopefully one day they'll return and they'll get a hero's welcome. And it says in the thing that one day Tatsumi does return as a dragon and causes quite a stir at the village.
I
So,
wonder why.
cut to Boss talking with Wave. They're all in a house. It's Korame and Akame in the other room, and then Boss and Wave in one room. And cuts with Wave, and Wave saying he'll need 9 years of treatment and one of his organs will never function again properly because of using 2 taigus, but he's happy that he got off lucky. I don't know why they say specifically 9 years of treatment, but that's the number they went with. It talks about feeling bad for Korame as she is having nightmares about saying sorry to everyone she has killed. And Boss says it is because she's finally in her right mind again. Cut to Akame and Korame in bed laying next to each other. And Korame says she is scared. She said she has been hallucinating about the people she killed. Akame commends her on sending Wave to the capital, even though she was suffering, and said he saved a lot of lives. That she left the capital and that as soon as she left, she was already doing good. She should be proud of herself. And Korame then hallucinates seeing a dark, like basically almost looks like an anti-spiral kind of thing behind her, and asks her to kill. Oh, sorry. The thing she's imagines. Sorry, I'm forgetting my own notes here. The thing that she sees asks her to kill her, and how, like, basically how dare her for how far she hasn't done anything, basically taunting her. Korame spent her remaining time with Wave at her side, and she was happy with him and getting to see Akame again. Cut to Akame and Boss in the woods. Boss asks Akame how she's doing. She still has the curse and like the imprints and like the kanji and stuff on her. And Akame says it's the curse. Her entire body aches, but she has learned to deal with it. She says she can do her job, says that everyone else is healing and living peacefully till the turbulent period that comes after any regime ends, she will work. Boss says she is sorry that Akame is the only one left living under the shadow of the battlefield. Akame says it is what she lives for. Boss says her too, and the time she has left, she'll be dedicated to the new nation as she grips Lubbock's goggles. Najinda loved her life in the new capital till the bitter end. She adopted a child, but never got married. Any new threats that randomly came up died of diseases in their sleep or in hunting accidents. Hunting accidents. It just shows Akame walking away from recently dead people in a hood. Then cut to the final scene of the anime where Akame is on a ship setting sail for an underdeveloped island in the east where Murasame originated from, hoping to find a way to cure the curse and the constant pain that she is in. Thin. Thoughts, reactions, angers, happiness. What do we got?
Why did they kill mine in the fucking anime? Why was it tossing me a motherfucking dragon?
Those are my 2 biggest gripes.
But come on, dragon.
So here's the thing. I don't agree with people who are like blindly saying, "Lar, the book is better," because there are some things in the manga that need to be cut for
specific reasons that are obvious. I do agree with that, but it is
well known that you know, in recent years Japan's censors have been a little bit stricter.
Still kind of shocked that Goblin Slayer got through, but crap happens.
We
Exactly.
don't talk about.
But yeah, out of all of the minor to major differences between the manga and the anime, really the only two things that I would have preferred remained were Wave getting more development.
Yes.
And people actually getting a happy ending.
Yeah. And it's like there's a lot of things where there's just extra little scenes, bits and bobs and stuff like that. And like in a wartime where plot armor doesn't exist, like I said, I was very okay with basically almost every character dying because it's like you do not know what's going to happen ever.
Yeah, I prefer how Love died in the anime over the manga.
Oh, you didn't think it was necessary that he got a testicle crushed? You thought it was cool that he actually had a badass fight and didn't just sit and get tortured in a cell somewhere?
I kind of like how he went out with in a bank and
Exactly.
mid-fight.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't mind it if it was in the anime, but
exactly. And it's like the things that I wished were there. I would have been very okay if they didn't have Korame die and she went off with Wave. I'd have been very okay with that.
Same.
And of course the Mine and Tatsumi thing. Like even if you had Mine die, if you had Tatsumi make it, and like he turned into the dragon, or not even either way, like he just
even
became
if it got like just made them like survive and not have it Tatsumi turn into a whole dragon thing.
Yeah. Or like if he would have turned into the dragon, another one I thought of it was like, you know what? No one's gonna mess with this capital again. Because we have that. If it was just Tatsumi left.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
if like Tatsumi became like, you know, the guardian of the capital.
Mm-hmm. Where like Akame's like, I need to leave, I need to fix this. She's like, boss is like, cool. I've got him. We'll be okay.
I got Dragon Boy over here.
Exactly. So like
I've got an army. We've got a
Tatsumi.
We got a dragon.
Exactly. So there was ways that they could have done it, and I get that. And it's just like it was a hard way of balancing like certain things, and like they almost, it's weird to say they cut everything that needed to get cut and then just didn't put in things that wouldn't have hurt.
Yeah, like they condensed a decent amount of stuff that didn't have to be in there.
Yeah. Like if they would have gotten another season of like development time, waited a few years,
like, oh
and
yeah, all
properly
of it would
worked
be
it
in
out.
it, no problem. Except for
that stuff. And like just that whole thing, you could have said that someone still murdered Run's students and not had it be a pedophile baseball playing clown.
Or
you could have had that whole group
to where he was just like a crazy killer.
Yeah, but like they've got multiple people there.
Child killer. It would have been fine.
Exactly. They had multiple people in that group that could have just been, yeah, I got paid to murder the kids. What's the big deal?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like even if they torque it, it would have been so
exactly. Fine. And because like they got a sword user and all sorts of other things, like outside of them being just kind of a whack-ball screw job group, it could have worked, but like there was even parts where I didn't tell you guys about, like every other line whenever they went into stuff. Like there was one where there was this group that was making a play, and it's like the first time that you see the secret police that is the Wild Hunt looking for people in the Capitol. They were basically anyone that disrespected the Capitol got killed by Wild Hunt. And like there's this one scene that I didn't put in there where these people are making like a propaganda type-ish play. And it's totally harmless. It's just one of those things. And they go in and murder and rape everyone just because you need to be dealt with. And then like after they're done with, somebody's like, oh, I could just get a new toy later and throw away. And it's like there's a one random scene where it's just like you have to mention them raping someone in almost every scene that a bad Imperial officer's in.
Yeah, like, why is that necessary?
And then they walk away, and then Wave finds the stage, and then all of them are naked, mutilated, and hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah, that's the kind of overkill you don't really need to show us.
And there's a bunch of stuff like that where it's just like it's littered in almost every other scene to where you would have to redo some whole dialogue options because they have to work around the night raid saying, yeah, we're going to kill you for blanket crime you did with blah, blah, blah. And just, fuck. We get it. My goodness, I get that you people are scumbags. I got that in one episode of that anime in the first chapter of the manga when they show that family that was torturing the people because that one girl liked to pick up strangers. You nailed that day one. You didn't need to keep doing that.
Yeah.
Because that was taking it to 11 immediately.
Yeah. It was like really overkill.
Yeah, one was dying of poison in the random cage while you had the other friend basically torsoed hanging naked in a galley of random mutilated bodies. That is normally the end of an anime, and that was a fresh start here. I like all of us can basically agree, to the most part, for what I can see. The awesome stuff, wish probably could have been in there. But it's weird when you think that they had probably only guaranteed 2 seasons. I don't know how you would have crammed the rest of that stuff in there successfully. So I don't know if that was the issue. I'm not going to claim to know how the production went. I didn't look that much into it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to turn it into a big bagging on either the anime or the manga for whichever was preferred.
Yeah.
But I feel that with the amount of stuff that most people would like added, because we like it, I think we got a pretty good option of what we could have got with the time they were allowed with the episode runtime and the number of episodes.
Yeah.
I feel
or it
they
was
did
just
okay.
given one season and it type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Wikipedia doesn't really have much information, just that the anime was going on at the same time as the manga.
Oh.
And around episode
That
19 is when the anime kind of diverged.
I believe it's either episode 19 or the one right after it is where they have Tatsumi's execution scene where mine dies.
I can believe if the manga was still going while the anime was being made, I could see why the anime was short cut.
Yeah, like on Wikipedia, it says, as the anime was produced while the manga was still ongoing, its story would eventually diverge from the source material, beginning in episode 19. However, several plot points that were originally presented in the anime would be retained in the manga.
Yeah, because
there we go. We got some of that out through that way. Okay.
Because like how animation is done very differently. But back in the day, like they had to wait for the manga to be at least 3 arcs ahead to continue the anime.
Yeah,
because if the anime kept going, it would have cast out. That was the whole problem with Bleach at the time. That like the anime caught up to where the manga was. That they stopped making the anime for a bit, kept showing reruns until like there was more chapters out of the
filler
manga.
Seasons of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I get it. You're trying to strike while the iron is hot while the thing is happening, and you don't want it to finish, wait a long time, and then be like, guys, you still remember this cool thing?
Yeah.
I get it.
Also the difference now between most new anime and like the classic shonen stuff is that I think the only 3 or the only 2 now shows that are like still aired weekly instead of like in season chunks are Naruto and One Piece.
Yeah, the ones that are going to go until people die.
Yeah, like even My Hero Academia is like it's released as like it's released like episodes at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which is how it should be. I prefer stuff like
but
that.
The manga for My Hero I think is ending this year if everything goes according to plan.
Got it. Wasn't there some stupid thing? Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't there some stupid thing with Attack on Titan where they were stalling the second season for forever because they wanted to wait on the manga, and then they ended up diverging from the manga anyway?
Oh God, is that what happened?
In a way,
I thought that's what it was.
Yeah, like season 2, because the anime was so caught up with the manga that they waited for the manga to be like so far ahead to continue, and with season 2 like different moments. Like this is like
yeah, that was where my roommate was a big fan of it because if I'm not mistaken, some people, maybe if it was the same company or the same writer, someone who was involved in that was involved with Death Note. It was either Death Note or Bleach because he said they were involved with his favorite anime and it was and they worked on this. So it was either like the animation company or something like that. Previously, it was either Death Note or Bleach. I can't remember. So he was super excited about this and then was like, I'm waiting. And then all of a sudden they're just like, and now they didn't even follow the manga fully anyway. It was just like, oh,
Yeah, like towards
well,
the
that
end, like there was
sucks.
like a scene like in the manga, a character never confessed their love, but in the anime, she totally did. Like as like everyone's getting killed and shit by Titans. So we were just like, why is this necessary? Why?
Got it. Okay.
But Attack on Titan is so good.
Yeah.
So
Oh, don't worry.
good.
It's on the list. Yeah, so we are approaching 2 hours. I spoke about that show for almost an hour and a half.
That's the
Whew!
longest you ever talk, and I'm like, damn.
And I'm actually not that out of breath now. Man, doing reviews and stuff online and screaming out of my lungs has helped because I used to get out of breath fast when I did this stuff. But anyway, so general would say like Mike, last impression now that we're done. Overall, both. Everything.
One day I might go back and read the manga just out of curiosity, but
Yeah.
on the whole, like just the story in general, I recommend this. It has all of the things that I enjoy in like an action anime. It's got like, a cool group of characters that all have unique personalities, weapons, fighting styles. The setting is great. If you're a fan of like the kind of anime shows that take place in a vaguely European style,
Castle times is what I would describe it as.
Basically. But yeah, if you like anime with this kind of setting, then you will definitely get into this one.
All right. What's that?
I actually enjoy the anime. It was good. I had more fun going into it not knowing anything about it. A little bit what Mike said, like I liked how it was like story driven, character driven a bit. The humor was like on point.
Mm-hmm.
The animation.
Yeah.
I live for good story animation.
Yes. And like I said, it's great. It has become the one. It is one of the one in the like top 3. Like it's Gurren, Darling, this, and the first season of Soul Eater.
The fact that you have Soul Eater on like your top tier list, I'm starting to question you.
That first season is immaculate.
It is.
It's fair, but we do not talk about how Soul Eater ended because I'm still triggered by how that anime ended.
That is why I'm
so
very
badly.
specific that I say first season. Like it's in the. I have it. Like it's right here. I have it right here with Kill la Kill and Darling in the Franxx. I have everything right here on the list of ones that I care enough about to get. But I will say, oh boy, did they need a little bit more time in the kitchen on that second season. They needed another season period. But it is what it is. Yeah, and it's one of those things, you go through it and it's good. And like I said, I got spoiled on the entire show about 2 years before I even watched it, and I still enjoyed it.
Nice.
That to me is the mark of a good show. If you know what's going to happen and you still enjoy it, that's
a thing for me. Like for the purpose of this review series, I purposely stayed away from stuff. But generally speaking, for me, when it comes to spoilers, it's not about the what, it's about the why and the how.
Yeah.
So in theory, you could spoil an entire movie or show for me, but I might still enjoy it if I enjoy how it's presented.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you, everyone, for taking along on this ride, listening to me ramble. Hour and a half. This video is approaching 2 hours. It'll be damn near 2 hours. And outside of one small editing bit, that this thing's going up raw. But yeah, it's been fun. And we've got, like I said, a very unbelievably other end of the continent, polar opposite thing for the next fresh takes that we're doing that I'm very, very excited about. And it's going to be probably one of the shortest ones. It'll be up there.
It will be the shortest one.
Well, I'm trying to think if it'd be the shortest we ever do. The fact that it has an OVA and a movie is the only thing that might tick it up to get other things shorter than it.
Yeah.
But outside of that, this will be by far the shortest one we've done. The longest, I think it'd be close between the two because of how many episodes that Neon has. That Neon might be the longest. No, yeah, Neon will be the longest because of the rebuild films.
Yep.
But yeah, this will definitely be the shortest. And I honestly don't know how I'm going to feel about it, but I know that it is one of the most beautifully animated things that I've seen shots of. I know nothing of it other than that.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, it's going to be a good time. All right. So for the last time, as far as Akame ga Kill fresh takes go, Mike, where can I find it?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Captain K42. You can check out my quick thoughts on letterboxd.com/CoachK42. And you can find me in all the various Facebook groups just at my name. You can check out Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and Twitter at Ren Pop Culture. You can also find us on Podchaser and the Banana Meter. Listen to all of our podcasts on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. And last but not least, everything can be found at renegadepopculture.com. Need an escape? So do we.
All right. And Miss Sal.
And you can find me on Twitter at KivaLove028.
And you can find me everywhere at Organoid0. All right. And until the next one, we will see you all later. Bye.
Peace.